Welcome back in to Baxter Street Boys. I'm your host, Cole Wilcox, joined always by my co-host, Jake Gordon, and our producer, Griffin Rudy. We are here to break down some Missouri prep. Please don't fall asleep. It will be boring. Missouri is whoo. But we do have plays on the back end. That's where you need to be awake. We're going to win you money this week. Griffin vows to be even a little bit better. He's went 0-4, 2-2. Maybe, just maybe, this will be the week he has a winning record. We'll see on the back half. But first, let's get into the show.
10, 12, he's running over people. Oh, you Herschel Walker.
There he goes in the corner again, and we jump up. Touchdown! Oh, God, a touchdown in the corner.
He just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
Swift's got running room. Swift by the defense. 40, 30. They won't catch him. Go, Swift, into the end zone. Touchdown! The freshman just ran it back to Philadelphia. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Dogs win it. We're headed to Atlanta. Near sideline, and it's intercepted. Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes. 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Near sideline. Breaks the tackle. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Georgia.
I know I'm asking a lot, you guys, but hunker it down one more time.
All right. Welcome in, everyone. If you are not following us on Twitter, please do so, and all the other ones listed there. But definitely Twitter. Hit the like on this YouTube video, and we appreciate you guys listening. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We don't always do it on YouTube, and don't miss anything on the podcast. Catch us in your car, on your way to work, while you're at work. Just put some headphones in. But, boys, how we doing?
I'm great, man. I'm excited. We got a big weekend ahead of us. I love the board. I know it might sound crazy, but I love the board. Got some good plays. Georgia's playing a night game. Unfortunately, it's the same time as NC State, Clemson, and the Braves and the Mets game too. So I'll be sweating that one out, especially with my NC State playoff pick. This is kind of going to be the week that decides it.
Yeah, it was funny because when we joined in the show, Griffin was in first, and I joined in, and Griff said, "I got some winners this week." And then about 5 minutes later, Jake hopped in, and the first thing he said was, "I got some winners this week. I'm excited." So everybody's confident. Everybody's confident. I don't know how confident I am yet. By Saturday morning, I'll be knowing I have 100 winners. But right now, I'm on the low key. I do want to talk about that Braves Mets thing real quick, Jake. And y'all are more plugged into Braves fandom than I am. And obviously, everyone knows hurricane goes through Florida. Prayers out to all those affected. Looks pretty brutal down there right now. But what was this about the Mets fan crying about the games being played? What's the story behind that?
So the Braves had played 13 games in a row, and they wanted to move that game up to today. But the
so
Mets
they're off today?
Yeah, they've had 2 off days in the past week or something like that. So they've been off. And of course, it's one of those things where you guys just care more about winning than people potentially dying. It's not raining in Atlanta. It's not even gonna rain.
It's not even a chance of rain anymore.
It's not even supposed to rain anymore.
It's supposed to be 60 degrees and sunny. It's literally going to be a perfect day. So
yeah, we were having a brick guy come to my house I'm building right now, and Saturday looked brutal. And then he called the other day and was like, "Hey, Saturday looks fine, so I can run it." It's like, all right, cool. And they're crying about the game being played. I'm sure it's not the players, but the New York media is the worst.
Oh my gosh, man.
Worst.
Can't stand
it. They're just so nervous that they're not going to win.
When the Hawks beat the Knicks, that was one of the most satisfying series of my life.
They just think everybody in the South is dumb, and they just assume that nobody down here knows what they're talking about. That's rich coming from that part of the country. That's all I got to say. Anyways.
Yeah, for sure. That media is – I mean, it was a couple weeks ago, or I guess about a month ago now, when the Jets were just celebrating a Super Bowl win because they beat the Falcons in a joint practice. Just for the Falcons ones to walk all over the Jets for the first half of the game. So, anyway, let's get into some college football. Last week was a busy week. We kind of hit on the games a little bit in the first show, but we want to bring back Jimbos of the week. A lot of Jimbos out there. Some of you probably have your own. We have ours. Griffin's the Jimbo that I called out on the pod. It's going to hit close to people here. So, Griff, why don't you kick us off with your Jimbo?
Yeah, I still can't understand this. Billy Napier, you're a Jimbo. You're down 17 points, score a touchdown, and you go for 2. I can't explain it. I really can't, because then they score another touchdown, as everyone knows, and then, go for 2 again because they have to. Don't get it. Down 5 points. Get the ball back on an onside kick. They're down 5 when they had an opportunity. They would have had an opportunity to kick a field goal to tie the game. And in no statistical world did it make sense to go for that 2-point conversion on the first touchdown. I really.
Greg, there's a simple explanation for this, by the way. That is a man from Chatsworth, Georgia, doing math.
Dude, I really.
That's exactly what me and my dad said. Is when he did. It's like, there's some Murray County math being on national display.
My degenerate ass was just watching it as like, why did he go for 2 there? The spread is 10.5. What the heck? I was pissed. I was like, if it would have been 10, it wouldn't have mattered, no matter what happened after. But they covered anyway, which is okay. But that was just boneheaded. I couldn't believe it.
I agree.
Let's try to create a scenario where it made sense. Like what? Think of a scenario in the game where that going for 2 when they were down 17, scored a touchdown, so you're down 11. What does being down 9 compared to being down 10 really do for you?
You win with a field goal instead of tie. I don't know.
But you still have to score 2 more times.
I saw someone trying to make the argument that like the winning the home team in overtime.
This wasn't someone, Griff. This was Billy Napier on the podium.
Oh, that was him. Okay,
yes.
okay, yeah.
Yes.
I mean that
talking about the spread in a presser to the Florida media.
I think I would rather get to overtime than lose the game in regulation if I'm him. I mean, what a moron.
Well, just like Tennessee fans are going to hate this. You have the more dynamic quarterback. And in overtime, that's what you want. That's what you want. Hendon Hooker is the better quarterback, but AR can make a play. Like, that guy's a freak. It's kind of windy out here. But I just don't understand why on earth he went for 2 right there. It blew my mind. I sat there for literally 15 minutes trying to figure out why he did it. I couldn't come up with a simple explanation. And the fact that he went to the presser earlier this week talking about, well, double-digit favorites at home win 70% of the time in overtime. What? Why does he know the spread? Why does the head coach of the football game know the spread? And
they all know the spread.
Yeah, for sure. But you can't be out there saying it. Now it looks like if you kick 2 right there, it's like, well, yeah, Tennessee minus 10.5.
Well, dude, and I was.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I was in Knoxville, and this dude that was like around, I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh my god, why did he go for 2 right there? Like, you got to be kidding me. And the guy comes over, because I'm talking about the spread, obviously, and he comes over and he's talking out of his butt, like just
a Florida fan?
All over a Tennessee fan. And I'm like, dude, shut up, leave me alone, like, go away. I'm literally wearing a Georgia polo, like, just get out of my face. I was dumbfounded with some of the idiots in that town, but
man, I gotta ask, because the question does beg to be asked. We talk about coaches knowing the spread. Do you think that Scott Frost made it another couple games at Nebraska because he went 9-3 against the spread last year?
Oh, 100%. That
you think the boosters were like, "Hey, man, if you're not gonna win, you better start covering."
Well, The way they looked at it was like, "Oh, well, he's doing better than they predicted." Like his team's not good, and he's keeping it closer than the experts think. It's the dumbest thing in the world. But the fact that I can't believe he went up there talking about the percentage of double-digit favorites at home. Blew my mind.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Goodness. My Jimbo of the week, we got to bid him a proper farewell, is Jeff Collins.
Geoff
Brother,
Collins.
we are going to miss you. We are going to miss you, man. 2 games against Georgia before y'all backed out in 2020. 97-7 outscored the guy. I'm going to miss him. I wish he was around this year. Probably would have been another 55-0, something along those lines. I got to say, I actually don't dislike Jeff Collins as a person. Tech first hired him. I thought it was a pretty good pickup. But it's clear it was his time to go. Apparently, Georgia Tech, Twitter told me they're getting Deion Sanders. So if they do, that'll be very interesting because there's a big jump from HBCU to Power 5 football. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, and the fact that I'm not going to miss his bench pressing on the sidelines, his push-ups on the sidelines before the game.
I'll never forget when they got that onside kick.
He's just a goober, man. Like, every time I saw a photo of him with like a recruit or something, like he just looked goofy.
Yeah, his constant Waffle House references. Like, tell me you're not Tell me you're not from Atlanta without telling me you're not from Atlanta. Just constantly referencing Waffle House. Like, if something's a part of the culture, you don't have to reference it all the time. Everyone just knows. Like Waffle House, yeah, it's Georgia. I don't sit here and talk about Waffle House. I go twice a week. Like he's just. They do need to hire someone that is deep in Atlanta roots. And I know everyone wants to say Deion. Deion and Georgia Tech, to me, everybody's like, it's a perfect fit. That seems like the complete opposite of a fit to me. Like, I understand it's in Atlanta. Nothing about Georgia Tech represents Atlanta at all, in the slightest.
Georgia Tech is one of the most forgettable teams in all of Power 5.
Yeah,
one of the most
they're
forgettable
not
teams.
in Atlanta. They are in Buckhead. That's like upscale. It just does not represent Atlanta to me at all. So I understand how people outside of the area are like, oh, Georgia Tech, Deion, that's perfect. Atlanta, it does not fit at all.
They need to go for Bill Clark or Jamie Chadwell.
Or they could go for Dale McGee, which would suck for us, but I feel like that'd be a home run for them.
I think it would too. But also, I feel like other people are going to be bidding on Deion if he's going to get hired.
Auburn.
Somewhere. I mean,
if you're Deion Sanders, why would you go to Georgia Tech over Auburn?
Auburn already recruits Atlanta better than Georgia Tech does.
Easily.
People are morons, man. They don't understand
when Auburn
that
is
stuff.
right. When Auburn is right, when their boosters, it would take somebody like Deion to come in and tell the boosters to piss off, like somebody with that much power. And when it's right, that's a top 10 job in America.
Yeah.
The way they can recruit, their facilities, their fan base, everything about it. I won't talk about Auburn good any more longer, but Deion would take Auburn 1,000 times before he ever even looked at Georgia Tech.
I agree.
My Jimbo of the week feeds right into this next segment, the Missouri Tigers as a whole. And if you watch that game against Auburn, you know. And we kind of hit on it a little bit earlier in the week. That was a game that if you watched, it makes you like football a little bit less. It was disgusting. There was nothing about it that was enjoyable. And Missouri, they had a chip shot to win it at the very end of the game. I'm talking 25 yards down the middle. Number one rule at Jordan-Hare Stadium, when there's time on the clock, do not settle for a field goal. Run into the end zone and don't stop till you get on the bus. Then he misses a field goal. Number two, they hold Auburn to a field goal in overtime. Like we said, run into the end zone, hold the ball, run to the bus. This man reaches out when there's really no one in front of him and just drops the ball. It was the most bizarre play I've ever seen, I think. He just drops the ball in the end zone, touchback, Auburn wins. It was unbelievable. But
there's ghosts in that place.
I watched that I didn't watch hardly any of the game except for the last probably 30 minutes of it. Mercy. Missouri tried to lose so hard, and hats off to them because they prevailed. Lost to Auburn. The 1 year they could beat Auburn, they lost. Brutal.
Yep. It hurts too when it's those teams in the West because, I don't know how the conference realignment's going to go. They probably won't see them for a while.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, like, I enjoyed that game a little bit, but I kind of did because I did have the under. That was one of my two plays that actually hit last week. So I was happy about that.
Disgusting game. So that leads us right into the Missouri Tigers. Georgia will go to Columbia at 7:30 on Saturday. Columbia will offer them the worst facilities in the SEC, the worst fan base in the SEC. I can't get over the fact that that's who we chose to bring in. That had to be the last resort. We wanted A&M so bad, and that was the only team that was tied to them. That's my only explanation for it. Why else did we bring them into the SEC?
Yeah, I got to give credit to Gary Pinkel was a fantastic coach for them for a while, but those days are long gone.
Yes. Yeah, it's really nothing against the football team. Like, they've had great teams. In 2007, they were really good. They beat us multiple years since they've been in.
No, they've beat us 1 year. Actually, they were 9-1 against them. It was only 2013.
That game was disgusting too.
Yeah, it was bad. We had a lot of injuries.
They brought in
previous week and
Matty Mock. Matty Mock came in.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Missouri came in and became instantly hateable to Georgia and Georgia fans when they started the old man football bullcrap. Were they wrong though in saying we played old man football? Not really.
No, we still whipped them up and down the field.
Yeah, but that old man football was plenty enough to wear them out. That's for sure. At their home field, Jarvis Jones, one of the most dominating football games from a defender I've ever seen. Absolutely owned that game. But I just can't get over the fact that fan base who is non-existent. That stadium, when it pans to that stadium, like on CBS, when they used to get the CBS 330 games, which I don't know the last time they've been on there, it looks like a high school stadium. It literally, you're like, where are they playing this? Is this a neutral field? No, it's Missouri's home field. They have a berm. They have a berm at their football field. It's disgusting.
Yeah, you go sit on the hill over there. Do people buy tickets for that? Like,
that's probably first come, first serve.
I mean, come on.
You can probably bring your cooler in there, which would be kind of sick. But that's, like I said, that's high school type football atmosphere. I'll never understand why we bring them in. But yeah, the old man football stuff was great. That created a good rivalry with a team that at the time was really, really good. And that part was fun. It's like, all right, Missouri's a good bring to the SEC. They've got a team that's building off of it. They've rode the momentum being the SEC, recruiting well. Yeah, then Finkel. What, did they fire him or did he leave?
I think he retired due to some health stuff. I think he had some bad stuff going on.
And now they got Eli Drinkowitz running the show.
App State, Scott Satterfield's I guess protege at App State, which he had some good years there. Never beat Georgia Southern, but now you talked about the old man football comment. Now, when you think of old man football, what do you think? You probably think not a lot of points, things of that nature. Now, if I asked you how many points Missouri had scored in the first quarter of their 3 FBS games, Louisiana Tech, Kansas State, Auburn, how many points do you think they would have in the first quarter?
Surely they'd have more than. Surely they'd have a decent amount if they're
like you're not talking average. You're talking total points.
Oh,
right?
total. You could probably think maybe 21.
Yeah, surely they would have scored a few touchdowns, right?
Well, the answer is 3. They have 3 points against FBS teams in the first quarter. So if Georgia starts out fast, this one's going to get ugly quick.
And who are these FBS teams they've played?
It's Kansas State, powerhouse, which actually Kansas State, solid,
but not defensively.
Louisiana Tech. And Auburn.
Thinkers.
I think the 3 was against Kansas State, too, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Do I dare go check and see how many they put up against Abilene Christian?
So we did our Missouri prep at the beginning of the year. And I talked about they had some weapons on defense, and I was trying my best to be positive about them. Like what can I bring to the table to talk about Missouri? They really do have some weapons on the outside. The problem is weapons that are not sharpened, when they're not cleaned, when they're not put up, they're going to rust. The weapons at Missouri are rusting and rusting quick because they have a quarterback that cannot get the ball to them. They have an offensive line that cannot protect their quarterback, and they have a scheme that is not built to score points. So all those weapons out there have officially rusted over.
Yeah, Brady Cook, you talk about their last quarterback, Connor Basilick. You know you're down bad when your quarterback's leaving for greener pastures at Indiana. So Connor Basilick in those 3 FBS games, he has thrown 4 interceptions to 1 touchdown. Excuse me.
Shout out Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, he's not completing a lot of his passes. He's not really running the ball effectively. He does have 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 against Auburn. But Auburn 14-21, 1 pick, no touchdowns. Kansas State 15-27, 2 picks, no touchdowns. Louisiana Tech 18-27, 1 pick, 1 touchdown, 200 yards. He hasn't thrown for over 201 yards against an FBS team. Only 128 yards against Kansas State.
God,
that's pretty bad.
Yeah, man, it's tough. And they were, if you remember back, Missouri was very excited about Connor Basilick. Like he was like the next guy. I don't know if he was a 4-star or not. I can't remember what he was out of the recruiting ranks, but he was like a touted dude for Missouri that they were very excited about. And yeah, then he leaves for Indiana. And they bring in this guy. And I feel bad for the dude. Like he's thrown into a tough situation, but he's got weapons. But the offensive line, we talked about South Carolina's offensive line, and we really let them have it. These guys South Carolina makes these guys look like they are just fresh meat. They're worse than South Carolina.
Watch list.
They are. Yeah, they struggle with pretty much every concept in football when it comes to offensive line work. They can't counter, they can't pass block, they can't run block, they can't hardly do anything. It's a real struggle when you're going to face a defensive line like Georgia's that is going to come right at you. With Jalen Carter or not, they're going to come right at you. If Kirby and the boys need to dial some stuff up, they'll dial some stuff up. They haven't needed to lately, but they start all that. it's going to be a long day for Missouri.
And as you see, you know, they're prone to turn the ball over. Georgia's going to be looking really opportunistic, you know, hunting those turnovers. And as they should. I mean, when you're playing a team like this that is just an accident waiting to happen, that's what you got to do. You got to try to make the big plays happen on defense.
Griff, can you give us some stats on Missouri for the year?
Yeah, this year Missouri is averaging 28 points per game on offense, which doesn't seem that bad. Giving up 24.5 points per game on defense, averaging 209 pass yards per game, and a whopping 185 yards per game rushing, giving up 192 yards passing, giving up 108 yards rushing. That ranks they rank 78th in total offense and 21st in total defense. Which is that 21st in the country in total.
Well,
defense.
the Abilene Christian game really skews these.
And the Auburn game.
If you look at the numbers, granted these were both road games. Manhattan, Kansas, and Auburn are both two tough places to play. They scored 12 points against Kansas State and they scored 14 against Auburn. So that's really the only thing. You know, Louisiana Tech, all due respect to their program, but that's not a game that I'm really looking to count towards these numbers. So their offense has been anemic.
No, and it's. I will say I respect any team that can go in and compete at Jordan-Hare, but Penn State kind of disproved how that team is this year. Like it's a bad Auburn team, and it's their crowd isn't even enough to make them really, really good. So Missouri goes in there, they compete, SEC game, whatever. So they do have a little fight in them. They have a little bit of pride at least. They didn't roll over at Jordan-Hare. It is going to be at home, and with Georgia coming to town, I would assume Missouri probably has 13,000-14,000 fans. They'll probably come out. The rest will probably be filled with Georgia, but it'll be a spot where Georgia can't just sleepwalk through. But if they come out with any type of intensity, I feel like you said, it's going to get ugly fast.
100%.
What are some areas y'all think we can exploit them?
I think it's in the secondary. I think you can at least come away with 2 interceptions. I'm gonna call my shot here. I'm gonna say Malachi Starks gets a pick 6.
I like that.
Non-offensive touchdown.
I like that.
I think we have a history of some non-offensive touchdowns at Missouri.
Yeah.
Tyson Campbell. Did Jarvis Jones have a touchdown that game? He did,
yeah.
right?
No, almost. It was almost touchdown.
Yeah, that's
he
right.
was very
he had the
close.
sack, picked it up, and then took off. But yeah, Tyson Campbell is a freshman. Took one back to the house.
Yeah, they won the SEC East in 2014, but that year Georgia went into Missouri and shut them out 34-0. How does that team win?
Those were some dark times for the East, man. That's back when like Treon Harris was going to the SEC championship game.
Yeah, you got to figure something out there. But we had 4 picks in that game. And you know, history tends to repeat itself sometimes. And the Dogs are 9-1 against the Missouri Tigers. I'm looking at a shutout this weekend. I'll say
Trivia for you, Griff. Who had those 4 picks that year?
Well, I know Dominique Sanders had like 2.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. God, I can't remember his name. He was number 12 and he had long dreads. I can't remember his name, but he definitely
Wilson?
had. No. He was. Yeah, I can't remember the other 2, but I know Dominique Sanders had 2. Actually, Quincy Mauger had one. I think.
Okay, there's 3.
I can't remember the other one. I can't get that one.
That's not bad. I'm trying to think of some other memorial Missouri games over the years.
George Pickens absolutely dominating them.
Torched them last year. He was in prime George condition.
No, that was 2020.
Yeah, that was
COVID year.
Last year at Missouri.
Goes up, Moss is the guy, and then just immediately starts taunting him straight to his face.
Yeah, and then he scored and ran through the back of the end zone, almost tripped on the track, doing some weird skip.
And there was that one play before like the end of the half where JT just chunked that one up, and the cameraman didn't even know where the ball was.
That's the one Jake's talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They hit him with the arms crossed, helmet off, as he's going into halftime. Wave. Classic George.
He's
but there's been some forgettable ones too. If anybody remembers in Athens, the classic.
That was the worst game.
9-6.
Worst game I've ever been to in my life. It was
I was at
rain
that
too.
game as well. It was hard.
I think, Griff, did I drop you off? I think I was like, I'm not going to that game. I think I dropped you.
No, that was before we got to college.
You weren't there.
Yeah,
That was the
was
Kentucky
20
game I'm talking about. That I was.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
That one
I'm
was
not going
also
to that.
yeah.
I'm
That one
not
was
going
also
to this
bad,
game.
Yeah, me and Kinsey had to
Yeah.
do our ticket so that we didn't get a strike, but then we went back to Webby's.
Yeah, I was not about to go on that one. But the Missouri game was very similar. That game was like, did that game kind of get Rick fired a little bit?
People are asking.
Was that 2015? Yeah,
Was it Kirby's first year?
I think it was 2015. I'm pretty sure because I'm pretty sure Grayson Lambert was the quarterback.
Well, we go
I think it was
there.
2015
We go
too.
there even years. So yeah, we'd be at home on odd years.
It might have been 2016.
Yeah,
though,
no,
for
it was
some reason.
2015 because it was Drew Lock. Literally only field goals in that game. That was so disgusting.
Yeah.
Marshall
Yeah, 'cause-
Morgan kicked the game winner.
But I remember at the end of that game, when I was walking out of the stadium, I had checked my phone to see that Florida lost, and that gave us a chance to win the East that year. And I was like actually pumped that we just even won that game 9-6 because that's just how big of a homer I am. I was like
Thinking that we were going to win the East after winning 9-6 at home against Missouri.
yeah, hey, that's me, man.
That's
man.
anemic. That is anemic. That's Brian Schottenheimer, right? That's the
Different days.
Schottenheimer year.
That was yeah.
9-6. But yeah, this year I don't think it's going to be 9-6. What areas on offense do you think we can exploit them?
I think you got to go vertical this game. I think you need to exploit the sidelines, get some vertical passes going, and kind of open them up. Kansas State obviously has a very good running game. They can be ran on. So we'll see. I think it's going to be another complete game. We're going to see a little bit of everything, but I want to see some vertical action.
Yeah, I agree. We haven't really hit some deep balls yet, like some pretty deep balls. We almost had a couple last game with Ladd. But speaking about vertical threats, obviously AD, high ankle sprain. You really never know with high ankle sprains. Those things are like, you could be feeling great one day, wake up the next day, feel terrible. Arian Smith, he's running straight line. I don't think they're going to rush him back for the Missouri game. I doubt you see number 11. I doubt you see 5 or 11. So obviously some guys have to keep stepping up. We saw Brock and Ladd step up against South Carolina and just put on a show. I think there's some other guys that are going to step up, and I feel like we predict this every game, but I think Dominic Blaylock, he's starting to warm up. Like, he's starting to get more and more reps. He made some big catches for us against Kent State, and they love Dom. Like, he's a guy that's come in. He played as a freshman. I mean, right off the bat, they've seen him work really hard through one injury, then come right back and do it again. Like, they want to give him these reps, and he's a guy who's probably gone and earned it in practice. I'm not there, so I'm not 100% sure. But the way they're throwing him the ball, the way they're getting him in the game, I think he's very close to kind of taking over.
I think we see a big Darnell game too.
Yeah. I feel like, has he had a big play against Missouri before?
Maybe in 2019. I can't remember off the top of my head.
I can't remember either. But...
Or 2020, excuse me.
Yeah.
COVID year.
Yeah. I like pretty much any of our matchups one-on-one against them.
They're going to have a lot of attention on Brock, and I think that's going to free up Darnell. I mean, you could say that almost every game, but
the question is, though, does it even matter?
It doesn't.
The attention you put on Brock, does it matter?
It does not. Yeah.
It's a good segue into Brock. Let's talk about him for a minute. What's like realistically a stat line that he ends the year with? His touchdown rate has to be higher than anyone in Georgia history, right?
450 rushing yards would be insane.
He got 83 through 4.
That would be whack.
That would be the nuttiest stat of all time. But, like, he's going to break the record at Georgia for touchdowns scored on a non-quarterback. He's got to.
He would have to.
How many does he have this year? He has 3 rushing and 2 receiving. He's already got 5 through 4.
Does he have 2 receiving or just 1?
Pretty sure he has 2.
Oh no, he does. Yeah. He had 2 against.
He's the toe tap and
yeah. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean he's on pace. What does that put him on pace for? 15 touchdowns on the year total.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. I'm calling my shot. Everybody's called their shot. I got Kieris on a screen pass, a little bubble, a 50-yard plus to the house on a screen pass
like
bubble.
Okay.
It's going to be set up beautifully. We're going to run, pull it, screen pass. You're going to see that tunnel. You're going to see Broderick Jones pull out there. You're going to see Darnell out there in space, Ladd cracking somebody, and that thing's just going to open up, and it's going to be just a bright path to the end zone. It's Kieris just runs right through it.
Yeah, my shot was really close to Jake's, but I actually went with like Kelly Ringo or Kamari Lassiter getting like a pick six or something. I want to see Kelly Ringo have a game where he gets to put up some stats because, dude, he's just been so locked down that nobody can even throw the ball that way. But I want to see him get another pick six,
I love a knot, man. There. I love a knot. A non-offensive touchdown just does things to me that no other type of play does.
It's awesome.
The
Chris Smith touchdown against Clemson was one of the,
especially because that game was so. Oh my god, that was a sweat fest.
Major sweat fest. Oh my, that's the best description I've ever heard of that game ever.
Yeah, it was. I was
never comfortable for I know all month I'm just it's all I can think about, and the whole game is like I never felt comfortable for half a second in that game.
And we just kept sacking them. Speaking of sacks, I'd love to see Nolan Smith get his hands dirty this game. Get multiple sacks because you watch it, man, and he's winning it. Like he's winning his reps. And I think I talked about this earlier. He does what he needs to do, whether he needs to set the edge, whether he needs to push the pocket. He is winning his reps, and I'm hoping that a team has the balls to sit back and try to throw on us, not just punt the game after we get up big like South Carolina did. Super lame. Try to come back, try to win, and let Nolan beast a little bit. I'll tell you the softest move of all time was Kentucky last year when they literally had an 11-minute drive down 30.
I was in Vegas for that game. Oh my gosh, I was so mad.
Soft.
That was the softest play I've ever seen. I love Mark Suth, but I lost a little bit of respect for him on that. We
were so close to stopping him too.
Yeah, that was so lame. Kirby was pissed at that too.
Yeah.
Like that's just so lame. But anything else on Missouri y'all got?
Good luck.
Yeah.
Best of luck. I think we have more on Missouri coming up. Up.
Yeah.
So picks. I think the updated standings are me and Jake are 11-6-1, if that's correct. And Griffin, you are 5. No, you're now 7-11.
Yep.
7-11, not terrible. If you faded Griff or if you've tailed Griff, you are down 3.5 units. If you are 3.4 units, something like that. Well, you're actually down more than you
You're
were.
probably down.
You're down 4.5. I mean,
yeah,
down 4.5
something like that. Something like that. Yeah.
If you tell me, Jake,
now we sound like Billy.
You're up 3.5 units.
Well, game of the year.
That's true. That's double. That is double.
My game of the year might just account for all of my picks next week.
Yeah.
It might just be like it's just LSU, whatever the spread plus 4.5, whatever it was.
What would the spread have to be for you not to take it?
Nothing. I don't care. I don't care.
Take LSU minus 11?
Yes. I think they're going to win by double digits. I actually do.
What do you think the spread's going to be?
I
think it'll be Tennessee. Yeah, I was going to say Tennessee 4.5. If they, depending on how if LSU comes out and whips Auburn this week, it might move to like 2.5, but I think it's probably going to stay around there.
If Tennessee's favored, it doesn't matter what it is. LSU's going to win the game. I can say that for a fact. They will win the game.
Oh, man. All right. Let's do some picks. I'll kick us off since I talked about it. And this, I'm dead serious about this. If you're in a spot where you could use a little more cash, and we're all in that spot. We could all use a little more cash. I want you to save up this week. Don't go out to eat. Don't spend money. Don't go to Target. Don't go to anywhere where you're tempted to spend some money. You hold it, keep it in your wallet until Saturday. And on Saturday, you go to the nearest book or your bookie, or you can drive all the way to Vegas and make a weekend out of it, because this will pay for the trip. This will absolutely pay for your trip. Go to the sports book, take out all that money you saved up this week, and put it on Georgia first quarter minus 6.5. That bet is an auto cash, auto lock, auto win. If it doesn't win, there had to be a tornado come through Missouri. Georgia will be leading the first quarter by more than a touchdown. I am so confident in this game that I'm willing to say this. Save up your money and put it on that game, because you will double it. Georgia minus 6.5 first quarter.
We talked about it, man. They got 3 first quarter points, and that's kind of just seems to be who they are. They're slow starters. Georgia's been fast starters. I love it. That was one of the first picks I made this week. Easy.
Cash it.
It's easy.
Cash it.
Cash.
Take it to the
Cash
bank.
it now.
You know what else is easy? my pick, which is going to be Georgia first half minus 16.5.
Yeah.
All you got to do, man, you just need 3 touchdowns, two touchdowns and a field goal, because I don't think Missouri is going to score. I have their team total under 12.5. We may also get to that later. I think this is going to be a shutout. I think Georgia, after a lackluster week last week, is going to come out and flex their muscles. A conference opponent on the road, they want to show that they're still the big man on campus. They're going to go out there and they're going to prove something. They're going to whip Missouri.
And like, think about it. If it's 21-3 at halftime, I think most of the fan base is kind of not happy with that. You're like, that's not great. That covers the spread. 21-3 covers the spread. And when you hear that score, you're like, that's not great. It's all you need. All you need is 21-3.
Yep. And all right, well, I'll do you one better, guys. This is a winner too. Georgia minus 27.5 for the game. Yeah, I mean, same thing you guys said, and it's not going to end in the first quarter. It's going all game long, baby. It's going to be a long day for the Missouri Tigers, and the Baxter Street boys are going to be profiting off of it. I'll say that.
Now, this is one of those games. Look at my last 2 favorites. Talking about me being a homer, whatever. My last 2 favorites. I had Ole Miss minus 14 against Georgia Tech, and I had Ohio State minus 18.5 of Wisconsin. It's a huge spread, and you might think, oh, why is it so big? Do they know something we don't? No, this is a little cheese that Vegas puts out for you every week so they can snap your neck in the rat trap on a different game. But that's the cheese. They're putting the cheese out. You can take the cheese right now and you won't get snapped. They're covering this game.
Yeah. Agreed.
Absolutely.
This is one of the weeks where you got to take advantage of it because Georgia's coming off a slow week. They can't give them that many points. 28 is the most you can give an SEC team on the road, pretty much, unless you're Bama and Vanderbilt, whatever. But this is a game you have to jump on. If you've never placed a bet in your life, do so responsibly on this game. Whatever you want. Take it all 3 ways. Listen, people think, oh, you bet on your own team? That's crazy. People say that to me all the time. I don't bet every Georgia game. I did not bet Georgia spread last week. I did not bet Georgia spread against Samford. Against Oregon, I did. Against South Carolina, 7 ways. And this is one of the games where it's lining up. I only do it when I know. When I know it's going to happen.
I mean,
this is like last year with Vanderbilt.
I know it's going to happen.
We're not going to stay away from the game because it's our team. I mean, come on. It's a winner. You got to take the winners, man.
I don't care what the team. I've bet Florida this year multiple times. I've bet Tennessee this year. Like that, I don't care when it comes to this. This is no homer in me at all. The homer in me was long gone. I'm not a rookie at this anymore. This is a game you play. Play it.
See, I used to never bet on my own team until Vanderbilt last year when I bet Georgia every single which way, team total, Vanderbilt team total under first half, first quarter, full game, and it just kept coming in. And I've been lucky with them too. Unfortunately, I did stay away from Kent State, but the under in the Samford game was so easy. That was one of my favorite plays of the whole year. Yeah. Had them against Oregon, first half, had them against South Carolina first half. This is one of those games where I can feel it. It's coming.
It's crazy. You think about it. If say you're a lifetime gambler, like you're a full-time gambler, if you did as much prep as we do for like Georgia, for all teams, which you probably can't do that much because we just know it so well, the ins and outs. But if you could spend all your day like doing what we do for just let's say not 10 teams, pick 10 teams and do it. I can see how somebody could be a professional gambler.
Yeah.
You jump at a week like this. You jump at it. And you don't miss an opportunity, and you trust Kirby Smart and the boys to get it done, and they will.
Georgia is very good against the spread too.
Very good
in games that aren't like Kent State and Samford, obviously, because they're like 50 points.
Because Kirby Smart is a dog. He's not out there to make friends. He's not. And I love Mark Richt. He's not Mark Richt. He wants to kill people on the road. That people are like, well, Bama. I used to walk in stadiums and hurt people. Guess who was on the freaking sideline? Like, there's a reason that's not the same mentality they have anymore. It's because that guy's in Athens doing it with our team. And we kill people on the road. We will kill Missouri on the road Saturday.
We'll get to this later too, but everything we just said about Georgia, you can take that and apply that to Ohio State and Rutgers. Same result. We'll get to our other picks later, though.
All right. Underdogs. Griff, start us off.
All right. Well, I'm pretty disappointed in myself at this one. I'll be honest. I said I wasn't going back to this well ever again.
Oh, no. Are they on the list?
And I am.
You take a team off the list?
Purdue plus 12.5 at Minnesota.
Way you're taking Purdue.
I'm doing it. Dude, that line's moved like 5 points. It opened at like 7.5. And dude,
What are you? What's your record taking Purdue this year? 0-3?
2.
No.
I'm the same way, man. I can't do
I
it. I don't think Minnesota is 12 points better than they are, but with Aiden O'Connell being a game time decision, that's the only thing. And I'm never betting Purdue again for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I have to do it, man. Especially if Aiden O'Connell plays. That's pretty much what I'm banking on here. And yeah, I have to. I'm doing it. I don't think Minnesota is 12 points better than this.
I love it. I love it.
I have to.
Throw it out the window.
Purdue, this is your chance to get off the list. This is your chance. Take it. You don't want to be on my list.
In front of you, Purdue. Take it.
Oh, man. Oh, I got a good one this week for my underdog. I really like this. I got a couple. I did want to take our Jayhawks. I will be taking our Jayhawks. They're not my official pick for this week, though. Now, if you look at Washington State, incredible backdoor cover last week. Great cover.
Incredible.
Very emotional game.
Shout out to that guy, by the way, in our comments who claimed an Oregon win with a minute and a half left on the clock. That was
yeah.
Shout out to
Lawrence. He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy, but he almost mushed that one big time.
No, he did mush it.
No, he mushed it for
Washington. The cover.
State.
Oh yeah, the goal. Yeah.
Or for Oregon, yeah.
Oregon.
So emotional win. Next week they have USC. Obviously, they're going to be their biggest test of the season. So what sits in between that? You have the California Golden Bears. Cal has been pretty good this year. Yes, Cal has been pretty good this year. I have to give them that. They've been solid. They can score. That's always important with Washington State. Coming off an emotional game like that with a look-ahead spot the next week, this has letdown all over it. There's a reason this is a 4-point spread with Wazoo as good as they are. And guess what? 70% of the public's on Washington State. I love Cal this week. I'm going to go Cal +4.
Love it. Love it. So we talked about the Georgia-Missouri game. We talked about, and Jake mentioned it, it's that cheese that Vegas lets you have to lead you to the next piece of cheese that's on the mousetrap. That cheese that's on the mousetrap has a big W on it, a big purple W. If you're a rookie gambler, and this was me in my first year, I say Washington -3.
Mm-hmm.
What? I'm hammering that. It's like Michigan State a couple weeks ago. That's like first year gambling type stuff. Washington -3 is the biggest trap to ever been set. They are cover gods. They've covered against everyone. They've covered against good teams. Now they're playing a not so good team on the road in a place that has no home environment, and they are only a 3-point favorite.
Now, why is that?
For that reason, you jump on the Bruins, the fighting Golden Bruins, the team with the free ride to the Big Ten, +3, UCLA, probably going to win outright. But Vegas wants you. They might drop this game down to 2.5 to make you take Washington. They might just do that by game time. Don't.
It is.
Do it. Yeah.
It's
don't do
2.5
it.
now.
Let me tell you something.
Take UCLA.
Buy it to 3. UCLA. Chip Kelly is fantastic on the road in conference. And this is everything you just said. Sharp money's all over UCLA. The public bets are all over Washington. This is a classic Vegas reaching in your pocket and taking your wallet. 100%.
Don't do it, folks. Don't do it. Washington. Sorry, my computer's about to die, so I'm in transition.
You're good. I'll go ahead and do my over while you're
Yeah, go ahead.
My over of the week. I was going to take UCLA Washington, but I like this a little bit more. I'm going to go Bama Arkansas first quarter 13.5.
I like that.
I could see Bama scoring 14 by themselves with Arkansas secondary. I could see Arkansas coming out and throwing a punch. This covered with Vandy last week. This was one of my plays last week. I talked about it on here. Vandy got to 17 with Bama. So over 14.5 or over 13.5 first quarter, Alabama Arkansas will be my over.
Nice. My over. Actually, Griffin, you go first. I left my notes over there.
All right. My over is going to be involving another team that is on my list. Houston. I've told this story on here, but this is the only over that I looked at this week, and I was like, that seems okay. I mean, Houston overs are 4-0 this year. Houston overs 4-0. They're playing Tulane. I think it's at Tulane. Over 54 over 54.5 seemed like a pretty low number. I was like, I got to go for it, and
I like it.
The Houston overs are 4-0 this year, so I'm riding that.
Wow. Griffin
Willie
stats.
Fritz, Georgia Southern legend. He's got that offense tuned up. They beat Kansas State this year. I had him plus 14. They go to Manhattan and win by 7 outright.
I remember my over now. I remember it now. There's something to be said about high overs and low unders. You got to take them. This over is extremely high. A lot of people will stay away. Not me and not you guys. Oklahoma, TCU, over 69.5. Great number, great spread.
69.
Let's make it happen. Griff, kick us off for the unders.
Real quick, since you just talked about low unders, I'm going to do mine real quick and I'll get out of the way. So, head-to-head, service academies. When you talk about games going under, service academies head-to-head are 41-9-1 unders. Now, Vegas has started decreasing the lines because I think they finally caught on. But I have Air Force and Army under 37.5. Air Force could come out and push them around, which does worry me a little bit. But this is a system play at this point. 41-9-1, that speaks for itself.
We love system plays.
Love them.
Griff, what you got?
My under is, and under that I actually like a lot. I like this under a lot. Kentucky Ole Miss under 54.5.
I like that too.
I've seen a lot of people on this it feels like, but I really like it. I think both these
numbers
teams,
for you real quick.
Both of these teams are like run the ball a lot. I mean, especially this year for Ole Miss, which is new to them because they're usually like a over the top team, that kind of thing, throwing the ball downfield. But this year they're running the ball a lot, and their defense has been solid. And Kentucky, we know, has a solid defense, Mark Stoops. So I trust this game to go under with a lot of running the ball and some good defense. I like it a lot.
So the under has 85% of the money, but the sharps are on it, and the big money's on it. So
I like that.
We'll see. And my under, circling back to that game in Columbia, I'm going to take Missouri team total under 13.5.
One of my favorite of the week.
Well, they scored 20, they got up 22 against Kent State. Exactly. 13.5 under.
That's what they want you to think.
Cash it.
I've got some other really good plays. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's hear them. No, go ahead.
Here we go. We're on a fade Colorado mission. I hope that everybody on this podcast has wisened up to that.
Free money.
Arizona minus 9.5 first half. Love the number in that game. Arizona can move the ball. I think they will go out and dominate. Colorado has not lost a game by less than 25 points this year. So you take that for what it's worth. I already mentioned Ohio State. Another play I like. Michigan minus 6 first half. If they score a touchdown, it's good. Iowa does not score. Honestly, Michigan's looked a little suspect because they literally have played 3 of the worst 4 teams in college football to start the season at home. They're going to Iowa. I still like Michigan. It's been money for me this year, so I'm going to keep riding with them a little bit. And we should talk about our Jayhawks. We should talk about the Jayhawks.
I'm taking them. I have to.
I am too.
We can't. I'm riding this train till it falls off. All right. I mean,
agree.
You have to.
They're too good. They're too good.
Yep. I am also on Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State runs A&M off the field.
Wow. Yeah, I like that play too a lot.
I'm on. This one's kind of crazy, and it was almost my favorite if I didn't love Georgia full game so much. Clemson minus 6.5 at NC State. I know it's your boys, Jake, but I think Clemson might have figured something out last week. I know Lake's defense is like straight Swiss cheese, but
yeah, it's terrible.
The confidence aspect of that, I think DJ might have gotten a little confidence, and if he can get in a rhythm and be solid, then they're going to be a really good team. And I think their Death Valley, not the true Death Valley, but I think at home 6.5 a tutty is a good line. I'm taking it.
This is a hedge spot for me, but I don't hedge. So yes, yeah. I kind of agree with your rationale. I do think Clemson's going to win, but this does feel like it could be a field goal game. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Clemson just blew the doors off of them.
I also really like Oklahoma State plus 2.5 at Baylor.
Agreed.
Baylor, they haven't looked tremendous this year. They got a big win last week in kind of an ugly fashion, it felt like. But I think Oklahoma State is still good, and nobody's really talked about them a lot this year.
At all. They've been the quietest top 10 team of anyone.
Yeah, and I like Mike Gundy. I was all over them for the end of the season last year. Me and Cole loved watching the freaking Cowboys. And so I'm going back to the well this year. Oklahoma State too. Yeah.
Really? I have another system play. South Alabama -9. I have absolutely no information on this game, but South Alabama has been a wagon for me this year, and I got a -9 going for it.
Love it.
All right.
Don't think, just do.
Yep.
Y'all have hit most of the ones that I like. One that you haven't hit, Ole Miss -6.5. If y'all did, I didn't hear it.
Yep.
But they have what is called reverse line movement in that game, where the public is all over Kentucky and the spread keeps going towards Ole Miss. Another one of those cheese spots. Don't take the Kentucky cheese. Take the Ole Miss cheese. That's the free cheese. That's the money cheese.
I have Washington -3, I will say, which is, the rat trap cheese, but
Yeah, a little head to head. I like it. And as I mentioned, Ohio State, every which way you can get them.
And the last one I have is I have Arkansas, and it is a rat spot. It's a rat line. Bama could blow them out 100%. But I've been on the anti-Bama is as good as everyone acts like they are train. I'm not going to get off of it now. They have yet to show me they can play on the road, and Arkansas is a team that can handle them up front. Their secondary is definitely weak, but if Bryce Young is on the ground, he cannot exploit that. So we'll see. I'm fully aware to lose this game, but it's one that if I don't bet and Arkansas covers, I'm going to be very, very mad at myself. So I'm taking Arkansas for that reason.
Fair enough.
yeah, I also kind of have a rat line game. Oregon State at Utah, 10.5, dude.
Yeah.
Oregon State, I know they just, had a tough game versus USC, but they're not bad. And from what I've seen from Utah, it hasn't been enough to be like, they're 10.5 points better than Oregon State. So, and I know it's a hard place to play in Salt Lake, but
I was going to mention that. I actually love the under in that.
I know,
I don't love it. The under's a lean for me. This is an 11 o'clock game in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess.
It kind of takes away from their environment a lot too.
Yeah. So I would lean under in that game. I haven't placed that. I'm still thinking about it. But at 55.5, that's a lot of points, especially after Oregon State just only put up 17 on UFC. And they have a good defense. So.
Yep. Good plays this week. A great board. This is the first time we've had 5 ranked matchups in one weekend since like the 70s or something nuts. Just something dumb. So enjoy it. It's a great weekend of football. We get 5 Saturdays in October this year, which is the best college football month. That's super exciting. October 1st on a Saturday is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said at the beginning of the show, follow us on social media. We are big time trolls. You will love us. And if you like this podcast, it's even to a greater extent on Twitter. Like this video, subscribe to the podcast. Love you guys. Go Dogs. That is Baxter Street Boys.